County Board of Commissioners into session at this time. At this time, we will have the invocation. I, Chairman Larry Yoder, will be giving the invocation. Commissioner Josh Lale will follow with the Pledge of Allegiance. If y'all would, please rise. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we appreciate the opportunity that we have to gather here today in a free nation, a nation that defends the right of speech, the right to gather. We thank our military personnel and those people who have given it all, that they have given us this right, that we're able to gather as we are here tonight. Lord, we'd ask you to be with our military personnel, be with our leaders, both national, state, and local, be with our law enforcement and emergency personnel, and help us, Lord, that we would do the things that you'd asked us to do, and do it in thy name. In God's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Gentlemen, does anyone have anything for a commissioner's report tonight? There being none, at this time you have your agenda before you. We have one item that needs to be added to the consent agenda, be item number D, Western Piedmont Council of Government appointment to the nursing and adult care. I'd like to add that to make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition of item D under consent agenda.
Second.
Motion is made and second. Is there any discussion? There being none, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. The first item on the agenda tonight is public comment, and we have one person who has signed up to speak during public comment. We have a time period on this of 15 minutes has been established for the total time for the public comment. Tonight, based on the Rick Lanier, who's going to be speaking to us tonight. He's with the U.S. Motto Committee. I hope I pronounced that right, Lanier. And he's here tonight. I'm going to allow him, I think I'd already talked with Mr. French, and I was going to allow you 5 minutes to speak, sir. At this time, if you would, please.
Thank you, sir. Honorable Chairman, Commissioners, it's my pleasure to come before you tonight. This is an invitation to join the growing list of cities and counties that are voting yes to proudly and prominently display our national motto, "In God We Trust," in and on their governmental buildings. My name is Rick Lanier, and I'm co-founder and vice chairman of the U.S. Motto Action Committee. I served as county commissioner in Davidson County in Lexington from 98 to 02. 2002, I led my board of commissioners to vote yes to display "In God We Trust" on the exterior of our governmental center. Soon after that, several other surrounding cities and counties joined us in doing the same. We formed the U.S. Motto Action Committee for the sole purpose to promote patriotism by encouraging elected officials to vote yes to display "In God We Trust" in or on their governmental buildings. Displaying the motto gives ceremonial honor to public occasions and expresses confidence in our society. These words have been used on our U.S. currency since 1864. This inspiring slogan is engraved above the entrance of the U.S. Senate chamber, as well as above the speaker's seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. On July 30th, 1956, during the Dwight D. Eisenhower administration, the U.S. Congress adopted "In God We Trust" as the official national motto of the United States of America. Thus, displaying the motto is a legal right protected by our First Amendment. On November the 1st, 2011, the U.S. House of Representatives voted overwhelmingly, 396 to 9, to reaffirm "In God We Trust" as our nation's motto. Congressman Randy Forbes of Virginia sponsored the resolution in part because some have mistakenly stated that "E pluribus unum" is our national motto. Most importantly, the resolution specifically encourages the placement of the motto in and on all government buildings, from courthouses to school classrooms. Most importantly, a recent survey shows that 87% of all Americans still support the display of our nation's motto. Gentlemen, this is our country's identity, just as my last name is Lanier. This is who I am. I would not overshadow it. I would not try to hide it. I would not try to do anything but prominently and proudly display my name. This is our country's identity, and we should proudly and prominently display it as much and as often as possible. In times of both war and peace, these words have been a profound source of strength and guidance to many generations of Americans. As a grassroots patriotic movement, the U.S. Motto Action Committee stands on solid legal ground. Since Davidson County paved the way, not one legal challenge has been raised against any city or county that has voted yes. This includes Thomasville City, Yadkin County, Rowan County, Iredell County, Davie County, Town of Walberg, Denton Town Hall, Cleveland County, Gaston County, Union County, Stanley County, and many others are jumping on board. We're going before Moore County tomorrow, going to Town Hall of Robbins next week, going to McDowell County and Randolph County and Montgomery County in the month of April. So far, we've had just overwhelming yes votes everywhere we went. This effort is legal. There's nothing to challenge. 100% of all the cost comes from private donations. Should y'all decide to bring it to a vote tonight and vote on it tonight, it's already paid for. A local company, 2 men agreed to cover the full cost. We're very pleased to announce that we're having overwhelming success with cities and counties voting yes to display "In God We Trust" in and on their governmental building. Officials like you are showing a commitment to the values that this country was founded upon, and I want to thank you in advance for voting yes. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have concerning what I just told you. You have before you a picture of what it would look like on the Alexander County courthouse. I'm assuming that would be an area that would be most frequented. I also have with me, if you want to see what the letters type they are, they're anodized in aluminum. They're done very professionally, and that would be coordinated with your facilities director, public works director, what have you, to see that is done in a proper and professional manner.
Okay, all right. What we're going to do, Mr. Lanier, so we're going to take this under advisement. We're going to discuss it, and we'll get back to you. Okay? I think it's something that I would like for our attorney to make sure they take a good look at, and then we'll take a look at this and see what the situation is and how we need to proceed. And then we have your name, your number, and everything, and we'll get back with you.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir?
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Item number 2 on the agenda tonight is economic development grant announcements. I'd like to call on Mr. David Eisenhower, Economic Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, it's my pleasure to be here tonight to announce to you that the North Carolina Rural Infrastructure Authority has recently approved $700,000 in grant awards for Alexander County industries. This award was announced originally on February 19th, and it was a very good day for Alexander County. Grants have been approved for Mitchell Gold Bob Williams and for Huntington House Furniture. We're pleased to have reps from both companies here tonight, and they're going to come up in just a few minutes and tell you a little bit more about each of these projects. And they're both, in their own right, very important projects for Alexander County. They both create jobs, they both assist existing industries, and they both have long-term implications for Alexander County. The first one we want to talk about tonight is the Mitchell Gold Bob Williams project. This is a $200,000 grant from North Carolina Department of Commerce. This grant will assist in extending natural gas service approximately 1 mile to Mitchell Gold's main facility. The total estimated cost of this project is actually $260,000. With, in addition to the $200,000 from Commerce, this board has recently approved $50,000 in funding for this project, without which this project would not be possible. In addition to those funds, the company has pledged $10,000. And more importantly, the company has pledged to create 20 new jobs as part of this project. Again, this is a very unique project for Alexander County. It's the first time that, as far as I can tell, it's the first time that Alexander County has undertaken this grant program for natural gas extension. And in the past 5 years in the state of North Carolina, there's only been 2 others. So I'm kind of proud that we're somewhat breaking new ground in this program. I want to take the opportunity also to thank Mark Poole with the North Carolina Department of Commerce, who oversees this program. He's been very patient with us as we work through this. And of course, my thanks to Jim Cole with PSNC, who is the natural gas provider. Tonight we have John Banus, who is Chief Financial Officer, and Steve Bruton, who is their Chief Engineer with us. And John's going to come up and tell you a little bit more about the project and the plans that Mitchell Gold has in the future. And of course, both he and I will be willing to answer any questions that you may have. Come on up, John.
Thank you, David. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Steve and I are both very excited, very proud to be here tonight to thank you for your support. We've been working on the project for a good while. Any technical questions you can direct to Steve. That's why I brought him along. Especially, we do want to thank the Board of Commissioners. We want to thank County Manager for your support, Mr. French, certainly David and Economic Development, and North Carolina Department of Commerce, of course, who's providing a big chunk of the support for this. Extending the natural gas line will provide us a more dependable, efficient, and economic fuel source than what we currently use. We've come in a couple days to a cold plant. Worse yet, our cafeteria can't fix us lunch, so when the propane's out. So we're certainly encouraged to have a dependable supply, and more importantly, we use it shrink wrap tunnel to package our product, and we can't run the tunnel if we're out of fuel. So we presently employ in Alexander County 563 permanent employees, another 60 through the local employment agency here in the county. That's a total of 623 with over 24 open positions currently on our hire list. And there's another 169 employees and 27 open positions in our retail stores across the country. So with your support, we plan to continue our growing presence in Alexander County and remaining what we think is a great place to work. I've been with the company since '98 and involved even before I was an employee with the company. And we certainly, again, it's not the first time that David's assisted us and the county with the grant, and we certainly appreciate it.
Very good. Looking forward to it, making good things happen for you there at Mitchell Gold. I have one question. I mean,
Yes, sir.
I know it's a tremendous amount of expense to convert everything over and get everything going the way you want it to go once the gas line's in. But you talked about 129 employees across the country. How many retail outlets do you all own at this time?
We currently have 14 stores open. We have one under construction right now, 2 other leases signed, and have 6 new leases in-house that we're reviewing. We've expanded pretty rapidly in the last couple of years. We had 6 a couple years ago, so now we're up to 14.
What's your geographic footprint of those stores?
Our latest store that just opened is in Miami. We have our flagship store in New York. We opened a store about a year ago this time in Beverly Hills. We have one in Portland. So we're Chicago. We just signed another lease in the Chicago area. So we're all across the country. We're in the the store under construction is Kansas City, Leawood, Kansas. So we're pretty widespread geographically, and we work with a number of licensed partners as well. Stores in Toronto, Montreal, Puerto Rico, Mexico City, and then a number in the United States as well.
Thank you.
Very good. Well, we look forward to this happening and everything taking place, because one of the main objectives is, we may go out and try to find new business, but taking care of the home folks is more important than going out and finding new business.
Well, we really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
We really do.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And again, I just want to say how pleased I am with how this grant went and the importance of this. In addition to serving Mitchell Gold, it gets natural gas a little bit farther out in the community. Hopefully, some others will be able to take advantage of it. And there are other potential projects like this in the county that I hope we can develop as time goes on. The next grant I want to talk to you about is with Huntington House Furniture. And on the same date that the natural gas grant was awarded, this grant was awarded in the Building Renovation Grant Program. The amount awarded was $500,000, and that supports the renovation of 150,000 square feet that Huntington House just purchased. Many of you will recognize this as the former Clayton Marcus building. This grant pays 50% of renovation cost up to $500,000. So that means that Huntington House had to invest a minimum of $1 million in renovations to get this $500,000 grant from Commerce. So that's just one indication of the strong commitment by Huntington House to Alexander County. This grant also requires a match from Alexander County Commissioners of $25,000. And again, this grant is not possible without your participation and your approval of those matching funds. Huntington House has also committed 40 new full-time jobs for this grant program. One of the other unique things about this grant is it is now officially the largest dollar amount grant awarded in the building reuse program for Alexander County. It's the first time we've gotten the $500,000 maximum grant amount. Very pleased with that. Tonight we have with us Mr. Donnie Teague and Danny Medlock. Both of these gentlemen, you probably also know, were extremely critical and instrumental in making Huntington House the very strong and growing company that it is today. I'm going to ask Donnie to come up and talk a little bit about the project and a little bit about the company, and let him answer any questions you may have about the future of Huntington House.
Thank you, Commissioners, for your support. We do appreciate it, and I want to especially thank David for filling out all the paperwork for this grant, because I don't know if I'd ever made it on my own. We're just about to bust at the seams in our current building now. So this project is important to us. Our business has been strong for the last 12 months, and we're really looking forward to getting that project going. We do plan on using as many subcontractors in the county as we possibly can. We enjoy the possibilities of using those people because we want to support the county in any way we can. Our product is a medium to high-end upholstery product that we do a lot of special items for people. Different sizes, just anything they want, we try to accommodate that. And that's one thing that's helped us survive through the slowdown period that we had over the last 6 or 7 years. But our business has really taken off now, and this project's very important to us. Danny and I are two of the original founders in 1985 when we started the company. Right now, our sons really run the company for us. My son and Danny's son, and we have a third partner in there that handles the sales. So we're really looking forward to this project and hope it really gets going strong. So any questions, I'll be glad to answer any questions you have.
Donnie, you're committing to 40 new full-time jobs. How many employees do you guys have currently?
It varies some, but it's usually around 140 to 145 right now. And we don't think that's going to be any problem at all because we really need to up our production. So we're going to have to train some people because it's hard to find qualified people in furniture these days. It took such a hard hit over the last 6 or 7 years. A lot of people left the industry and they're not coming back very readily. So we're having to work hard to get employees, but we don't think that's going to be a problem at all.
This is a major expansion just in employee count as well, not only just the building, but employee count.
Right, we're operating now out of a little over 100,000 square feet, and this is going to more than double our production space. And the project's going to take probably another 6 months to get the building ready, a minimum 6 months. It may take a little longer. But by the end of this year, we think we'll be in there, running strong.
Well, I'm glad you decided to expand in Alexander County and use these hometown folks and use that hometown expansion. That's, because like I say, one of the most vital parts of, in my opinion, in looking after our industry is trying to get these grants for the folks who are here.
Right.
And just like I was saying a minute ago, you may recruit new industry, but if you don't maintain and look after the industry that's already here, then you're really hurting yourself, because those folks that are here, you're the established group. You're the people that are going to be here and fight hard to make sure that you stay here and give the opportunity to our citizens to have employment. And I'd just like to say thank you for taking the time out, both Mitchell Gold and you all, for taking the time out to invest in Alexander County and invest in the future of this county. And
We're happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. I really am. I'm glad to see both of you here. I'm glad to see all of our industry here, and it's vitally important to the economic being of Alexander County.
Right. Anything else?
I think it's great to see a building that was huge, large. What are you gonna do with it? And it's being reutilized
Right.
and revitalized. So I think
Right.
that's a success story in and of itself. So I
Yeah.
appreciate
Thank
your
you.
willingness to take the risk to do that.
Anyone else?
I just thank you for what you're doing too, and as the 3 new guys that came on, we run on jobs, so we want to be helping and doing what we can, with the ones that are here, and if we can get some new people, that's also good, but if we can get you to keep building your base, that's a good thing. And I know kind of I've experienced a little bit with some jobs and creation, but probably 40, you think that's on the low side? There may be, you may create more than 40 jobs, don't you?
Right, we feel like there'll actually be more than that, so we don't think that's going to be a problem for us. The only thing that would stop that would be another severe economic downturn. But even during the slow period that we had over the last 6 or 7 years, we were able to maintain a level almost of that. We were a little lower than that, down to 130 or so. We've added 15 or so since that's picked up. And we don't think it's going to be a problem at all to add those 40 jobs.
I think from the things you see, I think you see the furniture coming back to the States. I think it's
Yeah.
starting to come back, especially whenever you get all these imports from China. I'm not gonna name any countries, I shouldn't do that. But you get all these imports coming in, and then they're taken to the customer, or they come to the distribution center, and they have to be repaired before they're actually shipped out to the customer. And that's one of the things that I still say, that America has some of the finest, most qualified people in the furniture industry that there is.
Well,
And they know how to take care of it.
We promote Made in America all the way.
Right, I agree, 100%. Absolutely. Anyone else?
Well, I'm the only one that hadn't said anything about this, so I guess I should. No, I think the citizens of the county will realize pretty quickly that those of us sitting behind this, this bench are pretty economically driven. I think, and I don't want to speak out of turn for the other commissioners, but we're thrilled to have the opportunity to, none of us like to spend money. I don't think any of us like to spend money. But, we're thrilled to have the opportunity to invest a little money and it pay off major dividends.
Right.
And with both these projects, I think we all looked at, we look at, okay, we're making an investment. What's the payoff? What's our return on our money? And both these were obviously well worth use of, a little bit of the public's money. And I think we're all very pleased to see both these grants actually come to fruition after, I think initially we thought that there was a good opportunity, but there's always that there's never any guarantee. And I think we're all really pleased to see it come, or to work out.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate it. David, I just also want to reiterate that I appreciate the job that you did on this, because I know that I know about the gas line. We've been struggling for a long time to try to get that grant. And I know about this one also and how long, the process has been. But I know you put a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of energy into this. And along with County Manager Rick French and Gary Herman and the 5 guys in the background that helped you and everything and supported this program. I just want to tell you thank you and a job well done.
Well, I appreciate it, but the real thanks goes to the companies, and,
Right.
I mean, I can't do anything if they don't do anything.
Well,
So they're the ones that deserve the recognition, and like I say, none of us can do it by ourselves, so, we're all in this together, which is the great thing about Alexander County, is it's so easy to work with everybody here in this county. And these two companies are just a good example of the great companies that we have in this county, and that's why Alexander County's unemployment rate is now the 16th lowest in the state of North
In the state of
Carolina,
North Carolina.
because of companies like we have here tonight. And it also puts the emphasis on the need for the new training facility that you guys are helping to fund up on the Hill. That's going to be an extremely crucial piece of the puzzle in Alexander County for a long time to come. So, and also want just one more time to thank the North Carolina Department of Commerce, Secretary Sclavarla, and Assistant Secretary for Rural Development, Pat Mitchell, has been here 3 times over the last several months. And she is very interested in helping rural North Carolina, and just can't thank them enough for the programs that they're putting forth and helping rural North Carolina. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks. And David, just to say something that's been said to me quite a few times, good job, now get back to work.
I'm trying.
Item number 3 on the agenda tonight is the resolution declaring its intent to sell the Alexander County Home Health Agency pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 131E-13. I'd call on Leanne Wisnett, the Health Department Director. Leanne?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, this evening, I think this will be brief. We discussed it last meeting, and this is just making that official. It is the resolution declaring your intent to sell the home health agency. The public notice went in the paper on February 18th as required. We plan to have a public hearing on April the 13th that you're going to see me often at about every meeting, it sounds like. Public hearing will be April 13th. After that, we will then take bids and bring those back to you. So you have the resolution in front of you. We have begun the process. It is a tedious process, as you can see, lots of public notices, lots of time involvement. It is based on the General Statute 131E-13. Lots of fun bedtime reading, so we can make sure you have that. Can I answer any questions?
No, I think it's important that we read this resolution
Okay.
so the citizens will hear it. If you'd like to read
I'll do
it,
it.
you may do so at this time.
Thank you. Resolution declaring its intent to sell the Alexander County Home Health Agency pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 131E-13. Whereas the County of Alexander, North Carolina, the county, has determined to sell the Alexander County Home Health Agency. Now therefore be it determined and resolved by the Alexander County Board of Commissioners as follows. The County of Alexander intends to sell the Alexander County Home Health Agency. 2, the Alexander County Manager is hereby directed to request proposals of purchase by direct solicitation of at least 5 prospective buyers, and including a copy of the North Carolina General Statute 131E-13 with this solicitation. The Board of Commissioners shall conduct a public hearing on this resolution of intent on April 13, 2015. 4, notice of public hearing shall be published at least 15 days before the hearing in the newspaper of general circulation within Alexander County. Notice of this proposed action was duly published in the Taylorsville Times on February 18, 2015, and this is the 2nd day of March 2015, prepared by your clerk to the board.
Okay. Gentlemen, anybody have any questions?
Do we have any idea how to gauge what our interest is gonna be in this? I mean, I think last time we talked about a little bit, we
We-
got 5 suitors we're gonna.
General statute requires 5. I did inquire with the consultant we've talked with and engaged with, and he feels like we won't have any trouble meeting that. I've actually had 2 phone calls, just inquiring on our numbers, volume. One was a company that's been more involved in assisted living and nursing home care. Actually, they have a site in Ohio and one in Florida. The other one is the agency that I kind of briefly spoke about that is purchasing Toe River, also called to inquire, just kind of asking volume and numbers and our competitors. After this, then next meeting, we will take public hearing, and actually while we're working on all those steps, there is a very detailed bid packet that we're working on. Goes back 5 years, talks about our Medicare revenue, Medicaid revenues, our census, asks for our license. It is definitely a very difficult, time-consuming process. So far, we've had 2 inquiries, and we really haven't gotten even to that process. So the consultant felt like we were looking at a 6 to 9 month process since we were small. Toe River, it took a year. They're just a little past a year from beginning, but we're, 1 county compared to 3, lots smaller than they are. So that's kind of his time frame, is a 6 to 9 month.
Is there an industry
Process.
average of what these trade for? I mean,
I asked that too. What you kind of look at is your Medicare revenues. And our Medicare revenues, that's why we're at this point, has certainly declined over the last 5 years. But, a good ballpark guess would be between $250,000 and $300,000. But that can be very variable. It depends on who the bidder is, what the consultant feels like we may be interesting for other people too, because those proposed home health agencies, there's been nothing on the market in Catawba County, which is a much broader market base. And by acquiring us in Alexander, you get that 50-mile radius. So he feels like we may get some interest because of that. And we're really entering the market at a good time while that CON is still on moratorium. So, I think we've been very smart about and timely about when we're starting the process. So, I'm hoping for a lot more, but you just don't know. The other piece to that is after you accept a proposal, that company has a 30-day window to evaluate your performance and your revenue. So it's real important for us to keep this program going and for our community to continue to request Alexander Home Health, because if we don't keep those referrals for the next 6 to 9 months, what that company proposes, they may drop in half. Rutherford Polk McDowell, the bid was $3 million. During that 30-day period, their revenues, they couldn't keep staff. They had, understandable. People started looking for jobs and moving elsewhere they certainly got scared. So the bid went back down from $3 million to $1 million. So we've got to, we're working hard to continue outreaching and marketing, and we're still your local hometown agency providing the same quality care, and we will up to the last day. And your job will be to look at those proposals and get a company in here that will look at our indigent population and take care of those employees that want to transition to the new company. So that'll be a big part of what we're looking at when we do get those proposals. So hope there's lots, and we hope they're higher than I anticipate. He said it's really hard to gauge. Sometimes you're surprised. That'd be nice.
thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. Gentlemen, at this time, I'll entertain a motion on the resolution.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the resolution declaring its intent to sell the Alexander County Home Health Agency pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 131E-13.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made and second. Now, is there any other discussion at this time? There being none, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. Thank you, Leanne.
gentlemen.
Item number 4 on the agenda tonight, 2015 Alexander Independence Celebration Update. I call on Kathy Riddle, Chair of the 2015 Independence Celebration Planning Committee.
Good evening. I have a PowerPoint presentation to share with you tonight about our upcoming celebration. Next slide. This is sponsored by the Alexander Habitat for Humanity and the Independence Celebration Committee. This is our second year, and this year it will be on Saturday, July 11th. So let's get ready to celebrate. Next slide. This is our second annual event, and after we did last year's event, we listened to the people who said it needs to be all in one location. So this year, it will all be on the Alexander County High School grounds. That includes the parade, the games, the vendors and the food, and that evening, the fireworks. Next slide. We'll start off with the parade, and if you participated last year, the parade was a lot of fun for the kids and the adults, as you can see in the slides. Next slide. And pets, too. Next slide. We also held old-fashioned games, and there's plenty of room at the high school to do that. We had sack races. Next slide. We had tug-of-war. And I do believe that person you see up there in that white T-shirt was in every tug-of-war game. Right, Gary? Next slide. We also had egg races, and I think that little guy was making sure he was going to win and not drop that egg. We had duck races, and we had the wheelbarrow races. Next slide. We also had a cornhole tournament, and that day we had 19 teams turn up, sign up, and compete. That was intense, and hopefully this year we'll have a lot more people compete. Next slide. We have the arts and the craft vendors. We had several of those. Well, we had 26 last year. We had room for a lot more, but we wanted to start small and be successful, and I think we were. We brought vendors in from other counties, and that brought tourists in. So I'll talk hopefully about that a little bit later. This will be located in the parking lot next to the practice field this next year, and we hope to have room for at least 40. We've got room for more, but we're going to try for 40. Next slide. We have food vendors. Last year we had a lot of community organizations and we had commercial vendors, and they all offered delicious food and treats. Next slide. We had ice cream, plenty of places for people to sit and eat, and we had fried pies. We had lots of fried pies. Next slide. If anyone listening to this wants to be a vendor, this is who they should contact this year. It's Leanne Perkins. This is her email address and her phone number there. Next slide. New this year, we're going to have several of the local fire departments are going to hold competitions out there on the big grassy area. We also hope to have music during the afternoon and evenings, and we're going to get the word out that we want people, if they're so inclined, to do some tailgating that evening before the fireworks. Next slide. And we will conclude with the fabulous night of fireworks. Last year, that brought many, many people into this town, if you happen to be there. Next slide. So we will conclude with the fireworks. And so then, if you like this and you want to keep informed, we have a Facebook page, and it's Independence Celebration in Alexander County, and we are still planning lots of different events. So check back. We post on that as we do our planning. Right now, we are planning, we have meetings once a month, and as we get closer, we will have more meetings, if it's anything like last year, and we will be adding more people into our steering committee. Next slide. Whoops. We need volunteers. So we have an email address, it's posted up there. If people would rather call, that's my phone number up there. And you can also contact members of the steering committee. Several of those people are here in the audience tonight. Brenda McCrae is here, Glenn Mays is here, Russell Green is back there, Rick French is on the committee, Matt Schrum is on our committee, Leanne Perkins is also, and David Odom from the town. So contact any of us if you would be so inclined to want to volunteer. Next slide. We can't do this without donations. So when you come out to the local businesses and shop local, you're going to start to see several money jars out in those businesses. Drop your change in. Drop more than your change in. We need contributions. If you are so inclined to send checks, there's the address, Habitat for Humanity, Post Office Box 565, Taylorsville. Any money that is left over after we pay our expenses goes to Habitat for Humanity. They were kind enough to put us under their umbrella, so they get any proceeds from after we pay the expenses. Some people last year said, why don't you hold this on 4th of July? Good question. Care to guess what the answer is?
Nobody here.
Italian 4th of July.
Everybody's gone.
Well, that plus, we get a good deal when we don't hold it on the 4th of July. I think it makes a difference of about, what, $5,000? Something like that. So we will always hold, we can celebrate our independence anytime. So it will always, from now on, be the Saturday after the 4th of July. Next slide. So all donations are appreciated, and we are in the process of trying to, and we will get this done, we just haven't got it done yet, accepting online donations. So that will be a link between the Habitat Restore and our Facebook page. So we will accept your donations, and they are tax deductible. Next slide. So I look forward to seeing all of you on July 11th at the high school grounds. Thank you. Any questions?
No, it was fun last year.
So, yeah, I'll make a comment. I spent a good part of the day around, I guess like Central Park and, where everything was last year. And it was a fun time. The games, a lot of kids had big fun. And it's definitely worth trying to grow and expand.
Yes.
And it's not hard to like on Facebook. I did it just a second ago while you were talking. So, right now, you're up to 762
Yes.
likes,
Mhm.
which is pretty impressive.
I think that's really good. Every once in a while, I'll put a little, teaser on there to get people interested and ask them to share also on their own pages. And when I mentioned earlier about the tourists, we know after the event last year, because several people would come up and talk to us as we were handing out thank yous to the different organizations or businesses, that they would say, oh yeah, so-and-so was here and they live in Wilkes County. Oh, so-and-so was here and they, live in Iredell County, Caldwell County. And so this thing can only grow. And this year we have plans to advertise it in our state magazine. They've already sent me the information to do that. So it's important for all of us, I think, to get behind this, because all it will do is help promote Alexander County. So, thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Item number 5 on the agenda tonight, Alexander County Veteran Service Update. Ginger Annis, our Veterans Service Officer.
Hello, thank you. Can y'all hear me? I don't like that thing. I am the Alexander County Veteran Service Officer. My job is to advocate for the veterans and their dependents. You must be accredited in order to represent the veteran through the VA. Currently, I am accredited with the North Carolina Division of Veterans Affairs, American Legion, DAV, National Association of County Veteran Service Officers, Retired Enlisted Association, and the Vietnam Veterans of America. To maintain accreditation, I have to have 20 hours of continuing education per year, and to maintain NCDVA accreditation, it has to be 10 has to be through them, and then I can get the others from the county. I usually have 2 training weeks a year, and they vary in areas. A lot of times we go to Atlantic Beach one time and then to the mountains the next time, so that we can encompass all of the state veteran service organizations. I do assist both the veterans and their dependents in securing the benefits that are available from the Department of Veterans Affairs. Benefits include service-connected disability. That's if somebody was either injured in service or they have a disease or something that is presumptive for the service and where they served. Pension for veterans as well as their survivors, health care, educational benefits, and there are some North Carolina benefits as well. The total expenditure is actually what the VA paid the veterans of Alexander County. And for the year 2013, it was $15,137,000. That is the benefits, both pension and compensation, that were paid out by the VA to residents of Alexander County. Currently, we have 2,980 veterans living in Alexander County, and that varies. We have some deaths, we have people that move and that kind of stuff. So that can be different at different times. We usually get a printout in the spring that covers the year before, so it's kind of, we're using 2013 figures because that's all that's available now. We should be getting the 2014 out pretty soon. I'm normally located in the administration building on Loudon Road. In room 201. I'm there Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8 to 5. On Wednesdays, I go to the Bethlehem Library so that I'm available to that end of the county from 9 to 2 during library hours. I have a little office there. It's kind of slow to catch on over there. Some days I'm really busy, other days I'm not so much. But at least I'm there, and I do have on my voicemail in the Taylorsville office that if you call me during those hours, to call me at the Bethlehem office, and I do get a lot of phone calls over there. Some other things that I do, I serve as the chairman of the Alexander County Veterans Committee. That is a committee that was endorsed by the commissioners, which we're very thankful that y'all did that. It's representative of all the veteran service organizations in the county, the DAV, the VFW, and the American Legion. We usually have the commander and the adjutant or the quartermaster of the post as a member, plus we have some members at large, and we have clergy as well, and some of the school folks, so that we can all work together to honor the veterans of the county. We usually meet the fourth Tuesday of the month from 10:30 to 12 at the DAV Chapter 84 building on Kerrigan Road. The building is open to anyone that wants to come. We don't have anything to hide, but we just ask that if anybody's there, that they reserve their comments or whatever to when they are spoken or ask for their comments. And only the members that are approved by the commission are allowed to of course, be voting members. So we do try to do a lot of things. We do the Veterans Day celebration at the high school. We've done it the last 2 years, I think, maybe 3.
3.
But is it 2? I don't do math in my head. But we're starting to get a much better turnout from that because we actually do a program And we feed the veterans and their families. And the last couple years, we've had enough food to feed everybody that was there that wanted to stay. And it's a good time to fellowship with folks in the county and that kind of stuff. We're starting to get a little bit bigger there. We also have started a program. It's called Our History, Our Heroes. It's where we actually interview veterans that have served. It doesn't matter if they served during war or during peacetime or whatever. If you've been in the military, you have a story to tell. Sometimes funny, sometimes not so funny, but they're very, very interesting. So far, we've conducted 52 interviews. It's an ongoing thing. We usually try to do it the first or the second Monday of the month. And we do that because Chad does the recording, and it kind of helps him to have on the schedule, and me too, so that I know when I'm in the office and when I'm going to be doing that. Actually, the DVDs we supply to each school library, we supply to the public library. We give one to each of the veterans that agree to participate or to share their story. And then we also sell them to family members and that kind of stuff if they want extra copies. So far, in the 52 that we've done after the first group of interviews, unfortunately, we lost 5 of the World War II veterans that we interviewed, but we have their story, and I've noticed that a lot of times just the family members, once they pass, you know, it's kind of nice to have that video and have that contact and that kind of stuff, so you don't really ever lose them. And that's all I have. Do you have any questions?
Ginger, I have about 2 questions.
Okay.
Our veterans here in the county, are we reaching all of them? I think that's one of the things that I hear when I go to these state meetings, is that people trying to reach out to make sure, because we had so many of them that for some reason or another, they forget to come and register when they get back.
Right.
And, I just wanted to see, what's happening with them, or,
I think we're doing a lot better job now because there's a lot of focus on, when you get back, these are your benefits. They do like a transition assistant program now, which they never used to do. You used to just kind of get off the plane and you're here and, well, what happens next? But there's a lot of employment. Well, it's not Employment Security Commission anymore, but they actually have a veteran specialist that does that to help get jobs. And through the VA in Hickory, we get a lot of referrals just for people that go and for treatment, and then they say, well, you have a claim, you need to go see your service officer, or, something like that. Word of mouth is a lot better. The veteran service organizations here in the county, we're always looking for new members. And just from word of mouth and that kind of stuff, it's getting out there. We still have some that we don't get, but I think it's really coming along a little bit better because of the information that's out there.
because I think it's vitally important that when they get back, if you're gonna make the sacrifice to serve, then you need to make sure that when you get back, that you get the benefits that are coming to you.
Exactly. I agree.
Now, the other thing you were talking about, the amount of money that we pay to our veterans whenever they're here in the county, does that include medical, or is that just?
That's just pension and compensation.
Very good. I thought that's what you said, but I wasn't sure, and I just wanted.
Right, yes, that's like an income. That's like for some of them, if they're permanently and totally disabled at 100%, that's just like a monthly check if they were working. So that's really helpful, and a lot of them really need it, so.
Well, now, I don't mean to ask so many questions. It
That's
just
fine.
interests me, okay? Are our veterans getting the medical service in this county to the hospitals like they should be getting? Are they getting in, getting their appointments? Are they doing a better job of taking care of our veterans once they get home than what they were 2 years ago?
Yes, they are. They are doing a lot better. Salisbury, the director, I guess she's the director of the hospital in Salisbury, because right now Hickory is a satellite of the Salisbury VA. Now, that's getting ready to change. They're going to be a satellite of the Asheville VA instead. But the director at Salisbury, she actually has a meeting with service officers either quarterly or, when the need arises, if there's something that, like the diabetic pens that there was a big issue with in the news. She would have conference calls with us periodically to let us know what was going on, how many calls they had, the status of those that they had to contact and that kind of thing. And she has been really, really good to make sure that the veterans are getting what they need in a timely manner. They actually started the 30-day, if you couldn't get an appointment within 30 days, they actually started, outsourcing and that kind of stuff even before they were made to do that, because they anticipated that that was going to be an issue. So I think it's a lot better. There's a choice card that they've put out, which has really just confused everybody because you can't use it. The VA still has to schedule and, that kind of stuff. But I think they're looking at ways to make sure that they get the health care that they need when they need it and not have to wait forever.
Very good. Thank you.
Any other
Anyone
questions?
else?
Now, I just want to say, Ginger, you do a fantastic job as an
Thank you.
advocate for our veterans, and especially our older veterans. They may have a tougher time dealing with some of the obstacles. So we appreciate all you do, and I know you work hard. A lot of people may not see that, but you work hard at your job, and you're very passionate about it. So thank you.
I love my veterans. And I appreciate the opportunity to get to serve them. Okay?
Thank you, Ginger. Appreciate it. Item number 6 on the agenda tonight, 2015 Rocky Fest update. Gary Herman, Small Business Development Coordinator for the county.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. It's my honor to speak tonight about Rocky Fest 2015. This is the third year we've put this on, and this year's going to be bigger and better than ever. We just hope we have enough parking space for everybody that's going to be coming out. So won't take much of your time. Just want to give you a few details of what we've got planned this year. Again, this is the third annual event. It is Saturday, May the 9th at, of course, Rocky Face Mountain Recreational Area. It's going to begin at 8:30 a.m. with the Kurt Barkley 5K. We're also planning a Rocky Fest 10K and 20K trail race to go along with it. And if anybody wants to participate in the race, they can contact Mr. French, and he'll sign them up. We're also planning free rock climbing and rappelling sessions. Those will begin at 10 and will be offered throughout the day. Of course, the 100-foot cliff face out there at Rocky Face, that's one of the big attributes of our park. So people are more and more taking advantage of the rock climbing opportunities out there. So some free climbing for some people who have never tried it or who have done it and enjoy it. And that'll be done by Rock Dimensions Climbing Guides of Boone. We do have quite a few children's activities and inflatables. So it's a very family-friendly event. Inflatables, I think we're going to have like a monster truck slide type thing, and then we're going to have a smaller bouncy house for the younger children, and then maybe an intermediate slide for, even the teenagers. And y'all could probably do it if you wanted to. But that'll go from like 11 to 6 for the children's activities and stuff. And we're also, of course, going to have food vendors, arts and craft vendors, and some commercial vendors, nonprofit vendors. And we are accepting applications for vendors at this time. You can go to RockyFest or RockyFacePark.com/RockyFest and look at the online application there. Other activities, we will have guided nature hikes throughout the day so people can become more familiar with our trails and the spectacular views atop Rocky Face, and also the unique ecosystem that we have there. Live music, and this is one of the big things for this event that I think people are really enjoying for the past 2 years. This year we've branched out a little bit. We're not just a bluegrass event as we have been mainly in the past. So we've got some bands who are really unique, have a big following throughout the region. So we're hoping to attract a lot of visitors to this event, much like Kathy was referring to with the Independence Day celebration. Music will run from 12 noon to 6 p.m. And we're billing it as music would be traditional plus. It's a mix of traditional and roots music that encompasses folk, blues, acoustic, country, jazz, and bluegrass. So a little bit of everything. Musical lineup includes Thomas Garlow from 12 to 12:40, J. Patrick Warren from 12:50 to 1:30, Mary Elizabeth from 1:40 to 2:20, The Message from 2:30 to 3:30, The Neighbors from 3:45 to 4:45, and Alexander County's own The Idle Time Band. That's our headline act. They'll be from 5 to 6. And there'll also be a picking tent where regional unplugged or acoustic musicians can come, bring their own instruments, sit under the tent, and just play a little bit together. I can't strike a lick, but I know we have a lot of good musicians in the area, and we invite everybody to come out and participate in that. Also, another unique aspect to this year's event, we have a chainsaw carving artist who's going to be coming out. His name is Randy Everett, and he's going to perform demonstrations throughout the day. Also, we have the North Carolina Wildlife Resources Commission, their sensory safari trailer. So big trailer that they have where kids can learn more about nature, and that's free of charge for that. Also, the Piedmont Amateur Astronomy Club will have their solar telescopes out that day, and you can actually look at the sun through a telescope. I know we've always been told, don't look at the sun. Well, they've got the right stuff. You can do it. I didn't get a chance to do that last year, but I hope to. Like I said, we do have the vendor application online. So if you're a nonprofit, it costs you nothing to be a vendor. If you're an arts and craft vendor, it's $25. Commercial vendor, $35, and food vendor, $50. And like I said, we're currently accepting applications online, and we're taking applications, then they go through an approval process. So if they meet the criteria for our event, then we send them an email or call them and let them know that they've been approved. So we're also seeking sponsorships to help pay for some of the activities that we have. So if there's any corporate or individual people out there who would like to donate to the event, they can give me a call at 632-1378, and we'd love to have them on board. We even named the event after them if they pay enough. So anyway, we're for sale. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Also wanted to note that the parking lot at Rocky Face Park will be closed for the event. So we're very thankful to Rocky Face Baptist Church for allowing us the use of their parking lot. And we've got some additional parking areas that are nearby that we can also utilize. And Greenway Public Transportation, we'd like to thank them. They're going to provide the shuttle, and we might use some county vans if we need to. But we're hoping to get 1,000, maybe even 2,000 people out to the park on Saturday, May 9th. So all the details are available online. You just go to rockyfacepark.com/rockyfest and read all about it. And I'd also like, while I have a minute, encourage folks to go to visitalexandernc.com/calendar. And we've got all the upcoming events. We'll have the Independence Celebration. We'll have Rocky Fest. Everything that's going on in the county that might be of interest to local folks, just visit it, and you can add it to your Google Calendar or whatever. So
What was that website address again?
that's visitalexandernc.com.
I knew what it was. I just wanted
I
you to
know.
say it twice.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. So if anyone has any questions, we just encourage the public to come out on Saturday, May 9th. Like I said, the trail races get underway at 8:30. Activities, vendors, and the like, that's from 11 to 6, and the music runs from 12 to 6. So it's going to be a big event here in Alexander County, and we're proud to be a part of it. And thank Mr. French for his support. And we've got a good planning committee, and we've been working hard. Feels like it's maybe coming up next week as hard as we've been working, but I think we're planning a good event, and we just want the people of Alexander County and beyond to come out and enjoy it and to learn more about Rocky Face Park. So if you have any
Very good.
questions.
Sounds like a good time.
That sounds good. So far, so good from everything I've been seeing. So,
Oh, yeah, it's going
only
to
thing I
be
think we need is a zip line, you know, that I think we'll be right.
fun. I agree.
You know, one zip line from the top.
That'd be nice.
That'd be nice, down across the pond, you know?
We'll go at the same time,
Who will?
me and you.
No, we won't. We'll be too heavy. I'll Google myself, you know? But no, you guys have done a tremendous job, and last year it was very good, and I think that it continues to grow, just like the 4th of July celebration, just like the Apple Festival's done and some other things in the county. Nothing starts out large. Everything starts out from a,
Humble beginnings.
that's
yeah.
it, a humble beginning.
Yep.
And thank you very much for your information and for the work that you do for, not only for this project, but also for the economic development area in the county.
Glad to. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Item number 7, Little Free Libraries in Alexander County, Ms. Laura Crooks, Library Director.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to share a little with you about the Little Free Libraries in Alexander County. It's part of our newest service. As part of our efforts to provide access to library services throughout the county, the library, the Board of Trustees, the Library Board of Trustees, and the Friends of the Library will be setting up Little Free Libraries at 3 locations in the northeastern section of the county. With additional grant funding from Thrivent Financial, the volunteer help of Paul Sink and Chris Holland from the Taylorsville Rotary Club, and in partnership with Rocky Face Park, the Hiddenite Center, and the Vashti Volunteer Fire Department, our Little Free Libraries will offer residents of Alexander County an opportunity to take a book, leave a book at any of these library outreach stations. Little Free Libraries is a national and international movement with a mission to promote literacy and the love of reading by building free book exchanges worldwide, and to build a sense of community as we share skills, creativity, and wisdom across the generations. Each Little Free Library is created with the theme of exchanging good books and bringing people together for something positive, which is a key part of what we do as your public library, and why this is a perfect fit for extending library services outside our 4 walls. The first 3 Little Free Libraries in Alexander County will be installed at Rocky Face Park, the Hiddenite Center, and the Vashti Volunteer Fire Department. These will be officially registered with littlefreelibraries.org, so each will appear on a national map. Each little library will contain books stocked by donation for visitors to borrow freely. We ask that borrowers return a book or 2 wherever they borrow, whether it's the same title or something different, so that we'll always have something available for a reader who drops by. Additionally, Rocky Face Park will keep a shelf of field guides for use in the park. We will hold a dedication ceremony for our Little Free Libraries at Rocky Face Park on Saturday, March 21st at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll have more information available soon through newspaper, radio, and social media. That's really all. I encourage you to take a look at littlefreelibrary.org to see what the larger movement does. Are there any questions I can answer for you?
Sounds very exciting, you know.
How cool is that?
I know,
We're looking
it is.
forward to it.
I mean, just walk up, get a book, leave a book, you
Yes.
know? And it's
Yes.
all on the honor system of you doing what you say that you're going to do. When you open the door to get a book, you give a book,
Yes.
you know? And it gives everybody an opportunity to share. But, I mean, you know, you've got 3 places there, Rocky Face, the Hiddenite Center, and, you know, it's on a trial basis, I'm sure, to see how it's going to do.
Yes, we do hope to do more eventually if
Right.
these do well. Vashti Volunteer Fire Department, they've got a park right there. We anticipate people could grab a book while they sit and watch their kids play, or then take it home, bring it back another day. Of course, Rocky Face Park will have take a book, leave a book, but like I said, there will be some that will stay at the park, but there'll be field guides, so you can take one, wander up on top of the hiking trails on the top of Rocky Face and spot things, and then just leave it at the Little Free Library before you leave. And of course, the Hiddenite Center with the Visitor Center and the Arts building over there, so. we
Right,
think it'll
something
be-
new, something exciting, you know?
Yeah,
Something
it's
for
a
folks.
growing movement.
Right.
It shows up in the paper here and there and everywhere. There was one in Salisbury not too long ago, Charlotte. And actually, the map that I mentioned online is very interactive. They're just everywhere, all over the nation. You can see where they are in Africa and India and just everywhere.
Very
So,
good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's it. That sounds exciting.
Did anybody else, Jamie sent an email out today? And anyway, just want to say good job.
Yes,
Just want to say good job.
right. Thank you. Item number 8 on the agenda tonight, the lease agreement between Lackey and Alexander County for evidence and storage. Mr. Rick French, County Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In your package, you have a copy of the lease agreement with Phil and John C. Lackey for a facility, a 12,860 square foot facility that we're proposing to use for evidence storage for the Sheriff's Department. It'd be an effort to consolidate our evidence. The lease is for 3 years with 2 one-year options at $1,200 a month. The lease is pretty straightforward. It's drawn up by our attorney, and I think we've been keeping you aware of this for some time, but I'll be glad to try to answer any questions, but it's pretty straightforward.
I assume we get efficiencies.
Yes, sir.
Having it consolidated and probably for Sheriff Bowling makes it a lot easier to manage.
Yes, sir.
That's a fair statement, having it in one central location.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Anybody have, well, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to accept the lease agreement as drawn.
Second.
Motion's made and second. Is there any discussion?
Well, just one question, will this, maybe we think this will work for, for the foreseeable future?
Yes,
I
sir.
mean, at least for a while.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. All right. Anything further? All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Item number 9 on the agenda, budget ordinance amendments number 26 through 31, and project budget ordinances P3, P4, and P5. I'd call on Mr. Rick French, County Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Budget amendment number 26 is to increase the budget for self-insurance group medical due to actual claims paid, which exceed the estimated insurance premiums charged to county departments, and to increase the finance department budget for amount to be paid for fiscal year 2015 for the state auditor's requirement to have an agreed-upon procedure engagement related to eligibility for certain major federal programs, Medicaid, TANF, Adoption Assistance, Children Health Insurance Program, and WIC, and to increase information technology budget to purchase increased storage capacity for the existing backup storage device in order to have a complete 14-day backup cycle rather than the 12 days that we currently running into, to increase the information technology budget to cover the first year's maintenance costs for the increased backup storage capacity, and to increase information technology budget to cover the annual user license fee for the Munis software systems used by finance, human resources, inspections, and planning. Budget amendment number 27 is to increase public buildings budget for the estimated costs of fence, shelving, and other maintenance items to be added to the building being leased for evidence storage, which you just approved by the Sheriff's Office, to increase the Sheriff's budget for fiscal year 2015 lease payments for a building to be used for evidence storage, which you just approved, to decrease the Sheriff's budget due to less money available from state unauthorized substance tax. Most of the special funds were spent in June 2014, and the fiscal year 2015 budget estimate was not updated to reflect this activity. To increase the Sheriff's budget for accrued leave payouts due to 2 employees receiving comp time payouts in February because they reached the 480-hour comp time limit. Vacation, holiday comp time payouts were not included in the original budget. And to increase the detention budget for accrued leave payout due to employee leaving county employment. Vacation, holiday comp time payouts were not included in the original budget. And same in communications budget, to increase the communications budget for accrued leave payout due to employee transferring from full-time to part-time status. Vacation, holiday comp time payouts were not included in the original budget. And that's budget amendment number 27. Budget amendment number 28 is the budget for payment to reimburse the school system for a portion of the school sales tax used for debt service on the auditorium, and to adjust the budget estimate for sales tax hold harmless funds to the school system based on year-to-date receipts. And that's budget amendment number 28. Number 29 is what we discussed earlier with the presentation from our Economic Development Director, David Eisenhower, to increase the general fund budget for Alexander County matching portion of the NC Commerce grant for the Huntington House Building Reuse Grant Project, and to increase the general fund budget for the Alexander County matching portion of the NC Commerce grant for the Mitchell Gold plus Bob Williams Natural Gas Expansion Grant Project. And budget amendment number 30 is to amend the project budget ordinance to expand the project scope to include the installation of water lines to improve supply to the Advent Church Road area. That'll wrap up the Bethlehem Ellendale Water Project. Budget amendment number 31 is to amend the budget for the additional transfer of local funds to the Bethlehem Ellendale Water Capital Project Fund in order to expand the project scope. And then we have some project ordinances. Project ordinance P3 is the Mitchell Gold and Natural Gas Expansion Project. And you have that as P3. It has funding revenues from the North Carolina Department of Commerce, the county's matching portion, and the Mitchell Gold plus Bob Williams portion, and the expenditures. P4 is the project ordinance for Huntington House Building Reuse Grant Project. And again, it shows the project, the revenues, especially the $500,000 from the North Carolina Department of Commerce, and the Alexander County cash match of $25,000. And P5 is the Rocky Face Park Expansion Project, which you approved last meeting. This is the project that moves the funds into this project. This is the North Carolina Parks and Recreation Trust Fund, which is $225,106, and the county match of $225,106. And that's all I have. I'll be glad to try to answer questions you may have about those.
Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask at this time?
I got one question back on budget ordinance amendment number 26.
Yes, sir.
The self-insured group medical.
Yes.
Are we still coming out ahead by being self-insured, or?
We are not. We're going to propose in the budget to change that.
Okay. All right.
We took some hits.
Okay.
We really did. I think we had a couple of people, there was some pretty bad major medical things, and because of those situations, and, we took pretty good hits.
Okay.
We're going to propose to change it, though, in
Right.
the 15-16 budget.
Good question.
That's all I have.
I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve budget ordinance amendments number 26 through number 31, and project ordinance amendments, project budget ordinances P3, P4, and P5.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made and second. Is there any further discussion? There being none, all in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Item number 10 on the agenda is the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners update video. Mr. French?
We have a 5-minute video for you to take a look at. It's basically an update from what's going on with our association. And at this time, I ask Chad to roll the video.
We'd like to welcome you to the NCACC update for February 2015. In today's program, we'll give you an overview of the Legislative Goals Conference that was held in January, and we'll introduce our government relations team. You can get more information on any of the topics we present on our website or through our social media outlets. County officials from across North Carolina gathered in Moore County in mid-January. It was the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners biannual Legislative Goals Conference. This conference is held every 2 years just prior to the start of the General Assembly's new biennium. It is the culmination of a months-long process that began in summer to determine the county's legislative agenda. This year, 70 counties submitted more than 300 proposals for consideration. The list was narrowed as the goals were reviewed by the NCACC steering committees, the Legislative Goals Committee, and finally by the Board of Directors. The conference began with an information session on Thursday morning. This session was designed to help commissioners have a better understanding of the current legislative environment. Joe Stewart, the Executive Director for the North Carolina Free Enterprise Foundation, reviewed the results of the 2014 state elections and what their impacts would be on the legislature. Our own Rebecca Troutman, the NCACC's Intergovernmental Relations Director, reviewed the status of the current year's state budget and how that will impact decisions made at the legislature this year.
We just got our January collections in, that distribution from the state. And remember, that really reflects sales that happened 3 months ago. We're not really seeing all the kick-in from the holiday sales yet. We had a tremendous increase year from last January, but I caution my county finance officers that we still have a lot of outstanding nonprofit revenue refunds that have not hit, so don't go spend it all. But we are starting to see real growth in our sales taxes, and I think you can see that not only in front of an improving economy, but also with regards to the expansion of the sales tax base in 2013, and Amazon collecting remote sales on our behalf. They started doing that last February. So I think all of those things coming together is really demonstrating some true growth in our sales tax base, but I do caution you not to rely on that huge boost in the January distribution as being a trend moving forward at the end of this fiscal year.
Voting began in earnest on Thursday afternoon. 89 counties sent voting delegates to the conference to debate 44 proposals in areas such as health and human services, tax and finance, justice and public safety, and public education. In addition, 6 new proposals were brought forward at the conference for consideration. In the end, voting delegates approved 45 goals for 2015 and 16. After approving the goals, voting delegates were asked to rank their top 5 priorities. Continued state funding of Medicaid and the restoration of the original 40% share of lottery proceeds designated for school construction were voted as the top 2 priorities for counties in 2015 and 16. Other priorities are to eliminate the general statute that allows school boards to sue boards of county commissioners over county appropriations for education, to ensure the state does not shift to counties any funding responsibility for transportation such as secondary road construction and maintenance, and to avoid unfunded mandates or shifts of state responsibilities to counties. NCACC President Ronnie Beal of Macon County presided over the meeting.
Again, remember the guiding principles are above the goals. They have been thoroughly vetted by the steering committee, the legislative goals committee, and the board of directors. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any of those opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. Good work.
The association's team of registered lobbyists advocates the county's interests before dozens of administrative, legislative, and rulemaking committees, both during and in between legislative sessions. Now here is an introduction to the NCACC Government Relations staff. Joining us for this NCACC update. For more information on any of the items discussed in this program, visit ncacc.org or any of our social media sites.
That meeting we attended was very good. That's the results of what happened at the meeting that we attended there in Southern Pines. But the thing about it is that these folks do a tremendous job to support the counties and to present these to the legislatures there and to fight for those goals that we did approve. And on another note, you may have gotten the email today. I don't know whether you did or not, but the North Carolina, the NACO was in Washington, D.C. last weekend. Of course, it was real cold and snowed the whole time. Mr. French, you correct me if I make this statement wrong, please. But whenever you go to NACO, it's a very informative session that most of the commissioners go to. However, I will say for this group of commissioners that we did not go this year due to the fact that no money was budgeted. So no commissioner from Alexander County attended this conference. And it's one of the best conferences around. But when they had the congressional breakfast with our representatives from North Carolina, they were all there and they all attended. They usually get up and have a few kind words to say. The federal goals that NACO came out with, and I have a copy of those, I didn't bring them with me tonight. But anyway, our own Senator Richard Burr said that he would do everything he could to support the goals of NACO that we presented from North Carolina. So I just want everybody to know that you don't see us just working on the local level just because you see us come to a meeting once or twice a month. There are things that we're involved in and meetings that we go through throughout the month that we do to try to improve the economic situation and the lives of the citizens of this county, and to try to provide programs and things to come back to this county. And the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners is also one of those major groups. So I just wanted to add that in there.
Mr. Chairman, I would add, yeah, you said NACO. A lot of people don't know what NACO actually stands for. That's the National Association of Counties. And Chairman Yoder and myself are on steering committees at the national level. You're still on your...
I'm on the Rural Counties Committee.
Okay, yeah. I'm on the Economic Development Committee.
Right. It's very informative, so it's a lot of information that you gather there, and just wanted to bring that up so that everybody know what was going on. Item number 11, other business, Mr. Rick French, County Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One thing, too, that we included in your books was a copy of the 2015 legislative session, the goals from the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners, which we will make sure every commissioner has a copy of that book. There's a couple things just to mention. I don't know if Chad has the slide on the sales tax, but at a meeting that I serve on a tax and finance committee, and we meet once every couple of months. This is one of the best slides I've seen to sort of explain our sales tax and the year it was adopted. If you look at it, Article 39, Article 40, and Article 42 are all something that the county currently has. A few years ago, I'll say, traded the Article 44, the half cent, and that was traded in exchange for the Medicaid cost. Article 43 is something we do not have. It is for public transportation only. It's a half cent in some of the larger counties. It's a quarter cent for most counties. And then Article 46, which is a quarter cent, which was approved by the voters here, and it means about $350,000 for Alexander County, and those funds primarily go for capital projects. There has been some discussion with members of the General Assembly about looking at 43 and 46 and trying to give the counties a little flexibility with Article 43 with that quarter cent. So that's something that's in the works. The discussion that we've had a number of times is about the per capita funding, and North Carolina is the only state that has per capita funding. What we have currently will probably be going away soon, but the structure is outlined like this, and this is the best slide that I'd seen. Rebecca Troutman, who is just a wonderful advocate for the association and very knowledgeable of all the different revenue ideas and bills that are discussed, have presented this slide, so I thought this would be good to share it at this time. And in conjunction with that, our sales taxes, again, are still about 8% higher than they were last year at this same time. We're running about $1.9 million. We budgeted $3,605,000 for the 2014-2015 fiscal year. And we'll play with the slide a little bit in these numbers to make it a little bit better to understand, or a little easier to understand. But I think this is a good summary page for your information.
I think it's real good for our citizens to see also.
It is.
And because I agree with you, that's one of the best slides and broken down the best that it could be for people to understand in simple terms.
It's easy to understand. It's pretty straightforward. You have the amount, whether you have to have a referendum or not, how the allocation is done. If it's done point of sale or per capita, and explains that also.
Mr. French?
Yes, sir.
Would you explain the point of sale or point of delivery or per capita to people that might be looking at this slide?
Okay,
Or-
the per capita is basically, the funds are collected statewide, and those funds are distributed throughout all the counties on a population, on a formula, but basically on population, and that's the best way for us financially. On a point of delivery, of course, it's not. We probably are down overall a couple $1 million than we were a few years ago. Part of that is the economy, though. But those two methods are the methods that are currently used. Also, the restricted use, some of it has no restrictions, other has to be used for school capital, and you can see those, that column, and then also about what applies to food. Currently, we have 2 1/4 cents. The county does we get 2 1/4 cents, which make up the $3.6 million that we budgeted this year. So it's a very, very important part of our budget. And some of the events and activities that we've talked about, those events, if they bring people into the county, and they do, will help our sales taxes increase. So support local businesses and also support these local events. And speaking of budget, one thing I want to mention to you is, of course, it seems strange to be talking about budget so early, but if you'll be looking at your calendars, we will need to schedule a budget work session, not to really look at the overall budget, but to be looking at some items that will impact the budget. And April 20th or April 17th, one of those two dates, if you'd be looking at your calendars, and we'll send you an email, if we can sort of target one of those, we would have it at the County Administration Building at 6 o'clock, and we'll officially set that at our next meeting, but we need to start working on some budget items. So I want to mention that. In conjunction with that, we have a number of projects that are getting ready to start and or have started. As you're well aware, the Alexander Applied Technologies building project, it has not started yet, but our county engineer, Darrell Robertson, has been working very closely with CVCC and CBSA and working on the plans to get the project ready to bid. That'll be happening very soon. Once that starts, we're hoping that we'll be in the facility by the end of this calendar year. You approved earlier tonight the evidence storage building project, and we're going to start working on that soon. That's going to be a process. It'll take us some time to do all the things that need to being done there. Rocky Face Park Phase 2, that's in the early stages. Some of that work will start this summer. We have a couple of water projects, and actually with the other project, we'll have 3 water projects going on the rest of the year. Those will be helpful. There's just a lot of things that, we have a lot of needs in the water area. So, again, that's my report. I have something for closed session, but I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Gentlemen, anybody have any questions at this time? No. If not, we'll move to the to the consent agenda. That's the one where we added the item number D, nursing and adult care appointee. So, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the addition of item D.
Motion's made. Is there a second?
Second?
Motion's made, second. Any discussion? There being no further discussion, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, the motion carries. Gentlemen, we will need to have a closed session for a couple items under North Carolina General Statutes 143-318.11, paragraph A, 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6, to prevent disclosure of confidential information, attorney-client privilege, economic development, contractual, and personnel. We will re-adjourn for the primary purpose of adjournment only. No action will be taken. I'll make that in form of a motion.
Second?
Motion's made, second. Any discussion? There being none, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. Those opposed likewise, motion carries. Thank you very much, gentlemen.